Welcome to another edition of Leaving the Ring, my boxing fans official radio show. I'm your host, Dave Duenas, with my co-host, Gabriel Montoya, and this is our Boxing Head moment, just featuring callers calling in, wanting to talk about boxing with us live at the time every Thursday night at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. The number to call in if you want to be part of this boxing movement, you can call in at 347-215-7598. Also, be sure to get on in on the Leaving in the Ring mailbag that is being hosted by our feature writer, Mark Ortega, and get your question in and possibly win a free fight DVD. Plus, don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Here's our Boxing Head moments on Leaving in the Ring. Chris, you're on live right now on Leaving in the Ring. What's on your mind, brother?
Yeah, I just want to say another show that Mosley could probably be on, and that's Survivor, because he definitely was in Survivor mode that night. I haven't seen a worse performance like that since Bruce Seldon fought Mike Tyson. It was one of the worst. I never seen nobody scared of another fighter.
It wasn't that bad. Bruce Seldon didn't get hit by a fight.
Not that. No, but when he said he never been hit like that before, I think that could have been a line where Bob Arum probably sent him a little bonus underneath the table, come on, say you never been hit like that before. I mean, you've been hit by Vernon Forrest, and your eyes almost rolled back in your head when you got hit on it.
I'm looking at the knockdown right now, though. I have it playing in front of me on the computer, and I just saw the knockdown. And you really look at the way he was positioned. Manny was off to the side. Yeah, and Shane turns his head to the right. It's vented on angle. He's ducking away, and Manny just short chopping left to his ear, which is, that'll just throw anybody's equilibrium off. I don't think he ever really had been hit like that before. Vernon laid some wood on him, but that concussive nature of that, I don't really disagree with that. The rest of the fight, I would agree with you and say, well, it didn't seem like Manny hit him all that hard all through the fight. Hit him harder with his head than he hit him with his punches. But that knockdown right there was pretty legitimate, and that's a pretty big head to get hit by.
That is a pretty big head to be hit by, especially when you're singing at the same time. Sometimes when we touch.
I never seen a fighter get knocked down and then want to get up and touch the other guy's glove. I mean, I never seen that ever.
You know what?
I've never seen that before. What was that about?
I think that had a lot to do with nerves, though. I think it was a lot of, an embarrassment and nerves at the same time. Even when he dropped Manny, when Manny got, tripped over his legs, it was basically like telling Manny, oh, dude, my bad, don't hit me. Don't hit me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Maybe he was saying, I tripped you, and I just, in a sense, it's like that, like Teddy Atlas says ad nauseum about the silent contract of, I'm not after you, it's all good, it's just a sport. And it's a kind of way of submitting, to another fighter and saying, you know what, you've got me, you're faster than me, you hit stronger. Yeah. I'm not really going to do much if you don't do much, and let's just get paid and get out of here. But it is really like a silent. It's kind of like I've never really had this happen, but you see a guy getting bullied or whatever, and rather than fight, he tries to make a joke and kind of go, well, it's all good, dude. It's all I don't really want to get into it. It's the same kind of thing when you're trying to get out of a situation with something other than meeting it with force and talking shit backward, back to the guy or fighting him back. I think that's exactly what it was. It's sad to see, but you know what? Boxing fans got what they paid for. They got a 39-year-old fighter, and Bob Arum and Manny Pacquiao should blame themselves. They shouldn't blame Manny and Dan Raphael saying it's all Mosley's fault. No, this is on Manny Pacquiao, and this is on Bob Arum. They wanted an old 39-year-old fighter who wanted them after he had a big win over Margarito, and they said, no, we want to wait. Well, you guys waited, and you got what you paid for it. You got $5 million worth of crap. Of old fighter who can't pull the trigger anymore. It's not on anybody but them. What did we expect? I expected him to act like a 40-year-old fighter, and he did.
Yeah, honestly, I just want to see Pacquiao's next opponent to definitely be Timothy Bradley, because I definitely think Timothy is very hungry. He's a proven fighter. He's very versatile in the ring, and he has reflexes, fast hands, pretty good pop. I think he'll give Manny a pretty good challenge because he's not as tall, he's not as big as a fighter the other fighters has been. He's about Manny's height, so I mean he brings a lot to the table.
Like somebody's mentioning in the chat room, the battle of the big heads.
Yo, what is up? I'm alive. I've survived the onslaught of barrage of fire coming to my house after I was screaming for Arce to knock Vasquez out.
Hey, I think a lot of people were surprised in how, Arce came through this fight. I mean, even I had a lot of people even saying, like, I'd like to see a rematch with Vic Darchinyan. The only thing is that I was thinking was Vic. It really shows you how intelligent Vic Darchinyan is, and he knows his limitations, and he had respect for Arce, where Vasquez was more or less willing to engage with them and really see what the old man had to offer, and he was in the fight every minute and every round, but you just had that feeling that, you know what, Arce is going to land something big. And the thing is that Arce was so smart in that final round that he decided to, instead of throwing the overhand right, he decided to lead with an uppercut, and that's what rocked the younger guy and had him off his legs for the remainder of that round. And then finally his father jumps in, which a lot of people were upset about that. I don't understand why they were so upset about the stoppage. I thought it was a good call. Gabriel, what'd you think?
I didn't think it was a good call. The fighter or the trainer, slash father knows his fighter better than I do. But it was very early in the fight, or in the round rather. I didn't see Vasquez out on his feet. He was still throwing punches back. They were kind of.
But he was on those ropes. He was on those ropes or holding them up. I mean, I don't know. It's really hard to say. I mean, it's one of those things. You know what I'm saying? Where
here's the thing, though. I mean, it's really early in the round. There's 2 minutes to go. Arce's been tired throughout the fight, and Vasquez Jr. had his back to the ropes when he knocked Arce down earlier in the fight. He'd been fighting that way throughout the whole fight. He didn't fight a smart fight by any means, but to me, what happens 20 seconds down the line and Arce gets tired and maybe has to retreat out to center ring, Vasquez gets a chance to regroup for a second, and he comes on strong in the back end of the round. I mean, there's 2 minutes in a title fight, in the biggest test of your fighter's career. He's not taking really huge flush punches that are like, oh my God. I've seen worse, beatings go longer and seen a reversal.
I don't know. I thought that was pretty brutal shots he was receiving in that fight. So. You know what I mean?
In the fight, he was taking hard shots, but I mean, at the end, if you really look at that flurry over and over again, he wasn't taking gigantic boom, sweat flying off his face and all the leverage. He was basically flurrying to get that end. And yeah, shots were getting through, but I didn't see his arms drop. I didn't see him defensive.
Oh, no, I didn't see that either. But I did see a kid that was getting outworked, outpunched, and really, I saw a kid that possibly was being held up by those ropes and was taking a fairly good beating from all 12 rounds. I mean, you got to admit, the kid had been rocked a few times. He did have his moments with Arce, but Arce just seemed like the fresher out of the two stepping into that 12th round. I mean, Vasquez's face had the telling of, I got 3 more minutes and then I'm going to dish it out. I think his dad saw something there that a lot of us felt. I felt, you know what, let the kid live another day to fight another day. Rob?
Dude, I'm telling you right now, thank God he lost to Arce because his career would have been ended by Rigondeaux. At least Arce loses to Rigondeaux, you can say Arce's old and stuff like that, and, but if Vasquez lost to Rigondeaux, that would have been, career ending. There would have been no future. It's just, there's not too many guys in that division, and at least Vasquez has a little time to regroup with his career if he chooses to do so. And maybe after a year and a half, there's new guys in that division. He has a little bit more experience now, or in the future, and he'll be able to take the next step and maybe be a champion. But right now, I think it was better for him to take a step down and actually take time to regroup while he lets Rigondeaux just tear stuff up and maybe hopefully move up for the better of his career. Because Rigondeaux, I don't see nobody beating Rigondeaux, and I don't see Arce beating Rigondeaux. And Darchinyan neither. Arce is just, he looked good in this fight. I picked him in this fight because I knew that eventually a brawl was going to break out, and I knew that Arce was Mexican. Mexicans don't lose brawls against Puerto Rico. As a matter of fact, when was the last time a Puerto Rican fighter beat a Mexican fighter in a brawl? It's almost, you really think about it, and it's almost never happened. Almost, there's only been a rare few occasions that have happened. Our Chapo, our hardest hitter, couldn't take Chavez.
Trinidad Campos, that was a brawl.
That was a brawl.
That was one, but I mean, I'm compared to that, to all the brawls that Mexican fighters have won against Puerto Rican fighters, that was I mean, in the aspect of Mosley Pacquiao, that was a brawl compared to that. That was wow. That was fight of the year compared to Mosley Pacquiao.
That fight with De La Hoya and said, I think De La Hoya has something here. Rob, I'm gonna put you back on hold, brother. Don't hang up. Let's go with Anthony, who wants to talk Manny Pacquiao and Mosley. You're on live right now and leaving the ring, brother. What's on your mind?
Oh, hey, how's it going, fellas? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good, bro.
Yep. Oh, hey, how y'all doing? Yeah, I really didn't know what y'all were talking about earlier, but my name's Anthony out of San Antonio, the biggest box fan out of Texas. But anyways, I was listening to the training of Andre Ward, and I always try to explain it when it comes to they got to come up with a new way to promote African American fighters in America. Because I mean, I'm a Mexican American, so I know what it's like to go to a fight and see how they you got the national pride and everything. I think that sports nowadays have been saturated and dominated by African American athletes in the NBA, the NFL, where it's you have a dominant boxing champion, so it's kind of harder to it's just another athlete, you know what I mean? But we have Manny Pacquiao. There's not a lot of Filipino athletes in America, so that's like the that's why it's so big, you know what I mean? I think they got to come up with a different angle. I don't know. I'm just kind of throwing that out there.
I think it comes down to taste too. I think the networks have terrible taste in fighters a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And you look at the guys, like Paul Williams is probably the exception. He's one of the few black action fighters out there. He's never in a boring fight. Maybe the Quintana of the first fight was kind of boring, but that was by Quintana's design, and I thought Paul looked very flat. But other than that, he's always really exciting. I always enjoy watching him. But you look at a lot of the other guys that HBO in particular has invested in. Chad Dawson. Andre Berto was somewhat exciting, but he was generally overmatching, his opponent. And he was just in a hell of a fight. So it's kind of hard to call him boring. And the Collazo fight was pretty good. But particularly a guy like Chad Dawson that they've invested a lot of time and money in. And you see him coming back. The networks are now putting him on, the undercard with, the Hopkins and Pascal rematch. Where's Tavares Cloud? That guy's a very exciting guy.
That's one fighter. That's one fighter I was actually going to bring up. Because I met Andre Ward on a couple of times. Real nice guy, classy guy. I think he's awesome for the sport. He's real, clean cut guy. Clean life outside the ring. Classy guy in and out of the ring. But that's why I just hope he gets his break somehow. And I mean, I know he's a big draw in California, Oakland, when he does real well when he's there. I just hope they find an angle to get him out. But I was also going to bring up, what happened to Tavares Cloud? I mean, this guy's just a monster. I kind of feel bad because, you got the Pascal, then you got the Hopkins. He looks like he's kind of slowing down Pascal. I think he's a little bit overrated.
Let's patch in some other fight fans here who want to talk some boxing. Let's patch in Grindshine. You're on live right now, brother, on Leaving the Ring. What's on your mind?
A lot of fighters, they're delusional. Like, they need to know when the people say you should fight this person, that's when you know it's time. Don't be delusional and say, I need to fight this person now, and you're not ready or you don't have that type of backing by the people. That's what it all comes down to. When you have the people like Manny Pacquiao, he has the people. The people want to see him fight Floyd Mayweather. If you like Floyd or not, they want to see him fight Manny Pacquiao. When you put Berto in there, you be like, Berto's fast, he's all right before he lost, but he can't mess with Manny Pacquiao. That's when you have to start listening to the people, not just yourself, because, prime example, fighting tomato cans, and you finally got in there with a guy that you thought you were going to steamroll over, and then he used the uppercut on you and then spanked you all over the ring. And this is what I'm saying. You're fighting tomato cans, and you're being delusional. You think you should make all this money, and you're not ready yet.
Oh, a lot of people like they're trashing Tim Bradley because he doesn't want to fight Khan. And I'm sorry, but Tim was right the first time. When Tim came on this radio show and said, you know what, I'll fight Alexander. It isn't about worrying about him. It's about getting paid the way the fight should be. And, I think Tim was ready, but he was saying Alexander isn't ready, and the fight proved him right. And nobody showed up. They did it in a funky venue, and it didn't do great ratings, and it was a terrible fight.